What if I told you that one single question, just one, could pull down the mask of a cheating woman? No need for snooping through her phone, no private detectives, no chasing shadows, just words. A simple question that, when asked at the right time, makes her body flinch, her voice crack, and her act fall apart. It's not magic, it's psychology. And if you've ever wondered how to see the truth hiding behind her smile, then listen carefully, because once you know this, you'll never look at conversations the same way again. Why direct accusations never work? The first thing most men do when they feel something's off, they go straight into attack mode. They ask the one question they think will bring clarity. Are you cheating on me? And while it sounds logical, it almost never works. Why? Because a woman who is cheating is already prepared for that question. She knows it might come. She's practiced her answer in the mirror. She's rehearsed her tone. She's even thought about the right facial expression to look convincing. By the time you ask, she's got her performance ready. It's like trying to catch an actor off guard during their own play. They know their lines better than you. They've already built the scene. That's why direct accusations often make you look weak. You end up arguing, defending yourself, chasing her words while she calmly plays the victim, or worse, flips the blame onto you. Psychology has a term for this: impression management. It means controlling how others see you. A cheating woman doesn't just manage her image with you, she manages it with friends, family, even with herself. She convinces herself she's still loyal in her own way. She tells herself excuses to reduce guilt. By the time you confront her, she's not only lying to you, she's lying to herself. That's why accusations rarely work. Instead of exposing the truth, they push her deeper into defense mode. She'll roll her eyes, sigh loudly, say things like, "Wow, so insecure," or "You're imagining things." And here's the sad part, you start to doubt yourself. That's the danger. Not just her betrayal, but how easily she can twist the script until you question your own instincts. I once heard a man say, "I knew she was cheating the moment I asked her directly because she was too calm, too smooth." And that's it. Cheaters who are used to hiding get calm under pressure because they're ready for it. But they break when the conversation feels natural, when it's not framed as a fight. That's why direct confrontation isn't the smartest move. What really exposes someone is not when you attack, but when you invite, when you keep your tone steady, your questions soft, your energy calm. That's when she doesn't know which script to use. She hasn't practiced for that. That's when the cracks start to show. So remember this. If you want the truth, don't walk in with fire. Walk in with calm. Anger makes her defensive. Calmness makes her uncomfortable. The man who doesn't accuse but instead listens has more power than the man who yells. And that's why direct accusations, though tempting, will never give you what you're really looking for: clarity. The power of an open-ended question. Here's where the difference comes in. Instead of throwing out accusations, you ask something simple, open, and disarming. Is there anything you feel you can't tell me? At first it sounds too soft, almost weak. Like, what if she just says no and moves on? But this is where psychology comes into play. The human mind can brush off a direct attack, but an open-ended question digs in deeper because it doesn't give her a clear script. It forces her to think. And when someone is hiding something heavy, like another relationship, secret conversations, or a double life, this question hits a nerve. Why? Because it bypasses the surface. Instead of, "Are you cheating?" which she's ready for, you're asking about honesty itself. You're making her confront the gap between what she says and what she knows inside. Even if she lies in that moment, her body will tell on her. You'll notice her pause, her breath, her change in tone, that hesitation. That's her conscience fighting. I've seen women react in 3 ways to this question. One laughs nervously, like you just asked something absurd. Another gets defensive. "Why are you asking me this? Do you not trust me?" And some just go quiet because silence feels safer than speaking. All 3 reactions tell you the same thing. There's something there. Now compare this to a faithful woman's response. A woman who has nothing to hide will answer naturally, maybe with a smile. She might even joke about it. "No, I tell you everything, even things you don't want to hear." Her words, tone, and energy all match. It feels light. You don't feel that heavy pause. That's the difference. This one question works because it doesn't accuse. It opens a door. It feels almost like trust, but at the same time, it creates a silent pressure. It tells her, I'm paying attention, I'm calm, I'm not insecure, I'm just asking. And that calmness is what shakes her more than anger ever could. Think of it like shining a flashlight into a dark room. If there's nothing there, no problem. But if there's something hiding, even the smallest movement gives it away. This question is that flashlight. It may not show you the full picture, but it shows you enough to know if something's off. So never underestimate the power of an open-ended question. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's not about proving she's guilty. It's about giving her space to reveal it herself. And trust me, when guilt exists, it leaks. Always. Let me share a story because sometimes examples speak louder than theory. A man once told me about a strange shift in his girlfriend's behavior. She wasn't outright distant, but something about her felt distracted. She still laughed at his jokes, still showed up for dinners, but her eyes seemed far away. You know that feeling when someone is there in body but absent in soul? That was what he felt. Instead of accusing her, instead of scrolling through her phone late at night like many men do, he decided to ask her that one question. Is there anything you feel you can't tell me? At first, she laughed. Not a real laugh, though, the kind where the sound doesn't reach the eyes. Then she tilted her head and said, Why are you asking me weird questions? Are you insecure? Notice the tactic here. She flipped it on him. She made it about his supposed weakness instead of answering. But he paid attention. Her hands started fidgeting with her glass. She looked everywhere except directly at him. She even tried to change the subject quickly, asking about work. That's when he knew. Not the full story, not the details, but he knew something was off. A week later, he stumbled on proof. Messages from another man, plans to meet. It was all there. But what struck him most wasn't the evidence. It was the fact that her reaction to that question had already exposed her. The evidence just confirmed what he had already seen. This story shows why this question works better than any detective work, because while texts can be deleted, calls erased, lies polished, raw human reaction can't be faked for long. A guilty conscience leaks through. Her discomfort that day was her truth slipping through the cracks. Now here's the lesson. Don't ignore those cracks. Many men see the hesitation, the strange defensiveness, and still give her the benefit of doubt. They convince themselves they're imagining it, but your gut is rarely wrong. If she reacts with calmness, openness, or even humor, fine. But if her body tightens, if her words deflect, if her tone feels heavy, pay attention. This man didn't catch her in the moment, but he caught her spirit trembling. And that was enough to prepare him for the truth that followed. So when you ask this question, don't expect her to suddenly confess. That rarely happens. Instead, look for the crack. That single break in her mask is worth more than 100 rehearsed denials. That's where the truth hides, how guilt leaks through the body. Here's something psychology makes clear. Guilt always leaks. No matter how skilled a liar is, no matter how practiced, there's always a small slip, a shift in tone, a flicker in the eyes, a pause too long. And when you ask, is there anything you feel you can't tell me? That's when guilt starts pouring through. Think about it. A woman carrying a secret is like someone holding water in their hands. She might keep it together for a while, but the drops always escape through her fingers. Guilt is heavy. It wants out. So when you ask a calm, open question, you give her guilt the chance to show itself. You don't even need to be a body language expert. Most men can feel the change. She was laughing a second ago. Now suddenly she's serious. She was talking freely. Now she's defensive. Maybe her breathing shifts, her words speed up, or she gets irritated over nothing. All of these are signs that the truth is fighting to come out. And don't miss this. Many women will get angry, not because you accused them, but because your calmness unsettled them. Anger is a shield. If she gets aggressive out of nowhere, saying things like, "Why would you even ask me that?" She's not angry at you. She's angry at the mirror you held up. Compare this to a faithful woman's response. If she truly has nothing to hide, she won't feel the need to act. She might joke, she might smile, she might even give a heartfelt, "No, you know I'd tell you everything." Her tone will feel light. That's the difference. You don't feel heaviness. You don't feel tension. I remember reading about a study where liars were tested under pressure. Almost all of them showed small micro-expressions, tiny flashes of discomfort before they answered. It could be a lip twitch, a glance away, or a forced smile. Our bodies betray us. And when it comes to cheating, the body is often more honest than the words. So when you ask this question, don't stare at her phone or her social media. Look at her, watch her eyes, her hands, her breathing. That's where guilt hides. Because the truth is, secrets don't sit quietly. They push against the surface, waiting for the smallest crack. And your calm, simple question provides that crack. That's why guilt leaks, not in grand confessions, but in the small moments, the little slips that can't be rehearsed. Why? This question works better than checking phones. Most men think catching a cheater is about being clever with technology, checking her phone at night, going through her social media, watching her online activity. And sure, sometimes you find evidence that way. But here's the problem. Cheaters learn. The more you snoop, the better they get at hiding. They use apps that erase messages, secret accounts, or even friends to cover for them. By the time you look, she's already 10 steps ahead. That's why chasing evidence often leaves you more confused. You might find nothing, and yet your gut still screams. And then you start thinking, maybe I'm paranoid. But deep down, now, this question, is there anything you feel you can't tell me, shifts the game. You're no longer chasing her shadow. You're pulling her into the light. Instead of you being the detective, you're letting her own mind betray her. That's far more powerful than checking apps or messages. Think about it. Phones can lie, screens can be cleaned, but her reaction in that moment, that can't be edited. You're looking at her raw, unfiltered. And it's not just about words, it's about energy. When someone is faithful, they answer with ease. When someone is hiding, the weight of the question presses on them. They can't fake ease for long. I know a man who spent months checking his wife's phone, convinced something was going on. He found nothing. But one night, instead of accusing, he asked calmly, "Is there anything you feel you can't tell me?" She froze. She stuttered. Then she said, "Why would you ask me that out of nowhere?" That's when he knew. A few weeks later, the truth came out. Another man. This shows something important. The truth isn't always in data, it's in human reaction. And sometimes the evidence is late. But her guilt, that shows up immediately. So stop exhausting yourself by playing spy. Stop scrolling at midnight, stop memorizing passwords. Instead, ask the question, calmly, directly, with steady eyes. Watch, listen, feel. You'll learn more in 30 seconds of silence than in 30 days of searching through her phone. Because cheating isn't just a digital act, it's an emotional split, and no amount of hiding can fully cover that. Here's another powerful thing to watch for: projection. Many cheaters accuse you of the very thing they're doing. This is a defense mechanism. It makes them feel safer if they can throw suspicion back at you. So when you ask, "Is there anything you feel you can't tell me?" don't be surprised if she suddenly says, "Why are you acting guilty?" Or, "You're the one hiding things." That's projection at work. Psychologists explain it like this. When someone is carrying guilt, they try to offload it by imagining you're the guilty one. It's almost like shifting the heat off themselves. And if you're not careful, you'll fall for it. You'll start defending yourself instead of focusing on her reaction. I've seen this countless times. A woman cheats, but when questioned, she spins the story so that he ends up apologizing. Imagine that. The faithful partner apologizing while the guilty one plays victim. That's the danger of projection. Now, here's how you handle it. Don't argue, don't defend, stay calm. If she says, "You must be cheating to even ask that," just observe. Smile if you have to, because the moment she projects, she's telling you more than she realizes. Think of it like a mirror. When guilt becomes too heavy, she throws it at you to lighten her own load. But if you know the game, you don't pick it up. You let her keep it. There's another layer here too. Sometimes projection is so strong that she convinces herself you are the problem. That way she doesn't feel guilty at all. That's how deep denial can go. But again, your question breaks the cycle because it's not about accusing, it's about observing. So remember, projection is a red flag, not a random coincidence. If she flips the script and makes you the villain, it's not because you're wrong, it's because you're too close to the truth. What to do with the truth? Now, here's the hardest part. Let's say you ask the question. You notice the pause, the defensiveness, the projection. You see the crack. What do you do with that truth? Most men mess up here. They keep pushing, demanding confessions, begging for answers. But here's the thing. You don't need her confession to know. Her reaction already told you. So don't trap yourself in endless arguments. Don't give her more chances to lie. The moment you sense the truth, the power is back in your hands. You can choose what happens next. Do you stay hoping she changes? Do you leave, protecting your peace? That's your decision. But never fall into the trap of chasing her words. Words can be twisted, actions can't. And here's something you need to hear. If a woman is truly loyal, you won't need to corner her with questions. Her behavior, her energy, her consistency, they'll all speak for her. If you need to ask this question and you see cracks, it usually means the damage is already there. So what do you do with the truth? You accept it without drama, without begging, without lowering yourself. You step back, you move with dignity. That's the part most men struggle with, letting go of the need for proof. But once you've seen enough, that's all the proof you need. The truth doesn't always come in a neat confession. Sometimes it comes in silence, in hesitation, in deflection, and that's okay, because you don't need her words to validate what you already know inside. So use this question not just to expose her, but to expose your own strength, to show yourself that you can face reality without breaking. At the end of the day, this one question, is there anything you feel you can't tell me, isn't about playing detective. It's about reclaiming clarity. It works because it's calm, it's steady, it doesn't beg or accuse, it simply holds up a mirror. And people with nothing to hide look into mirrors with ease. People carrying secrets flinch, that's all you need to see. But here's the deeper truth. This isn't just about catching a cheater. It's about learning to value your peace over your fear, to choose clarity over denial, because the worst thing isn't being cheated on. The worst thing is living blind, ignoring your instincts, wasting years with someone who was never fully yours. So next time you feel that quiet unease in your gut, don't explode, don't snoop, don't play games. Just ask calmly, is there anything you feel you can't tell me? Then watch, listen, feel. Don't fear the answer. Fear staying in the dark. Because the moment you stop being afraid of truth, you become untouchable. And remember this, love built on lies will always collapse. But a man who stands calm in truth, he never loses, no matter the outcome. The